Perfect fit closets. How to use dividers. We'll be talking about our DIV series. We have our dividers left, dividers right, dividers fully drilled, and dividers no drilled. I have our 2020 open. I have a tall module 14 inches deep, a wall module that's also 14 inches deep. Please keep in mind that with our tall modules, we use cleats to adhere our system to the back wall. With our wall module systems, we use the hanging rail system that adheres the system to the back wall and off the ground. And in my local browser, I've got my Perfect Fit Canadian catalog. Please keep in mind there are two catalogs, our Canadian catalog and our US catalog. I'll be using our Canadian catalog today. I'm going to double click our parts section. And in our parts section, we have several categories of panels, shelves, drawers, doors, and floating shelves, and our parts list below. I'm going to double click our panels section. In our panel sections, we've got panels that's related to our tall modules. We've got our wall panels associated with our wall modules. And below we have our dividers left, right, full, and no drill. In our dealer portal tab, underneath our product identification, so I went into our product overview, and underneath our product identification, we have our divider series. We have full drill, left, right, and no drill. If I choose the divider full drill, we can see that we have the panel in the middle that's got line boring holes on both sides of the panel. So therefore, you can still use your boring holes on each of the sections here. For installation purposes, we provide 4 1¼ inch screws. The installer will screw from the top fixed shelf and into the panel, and as well from the bottom fixed shelf into the panel. Please note we always pilot hole drills whenever we're using material before screwing. Therefore, it does not bow the actual product itself. So once again, installation crew must pilot hole the drill first and then screw using the screws that we provide at 1¼ inch. You can also use adhesive glue depending on the application. We also have our dividers on the left. Dividers on the left, we've got a clean face on one side, and on the other side, we also have fully drilled panels. As well, and same applies to our dividers on the right. And dividers no drill, we have no bored holes on either side. And again, depending on the application, you can choose the following. In our dealer portal, dividers work by using fixed shelves, so 2 fixed center pieces. The reason why we need fixed shelves is if we have an adjustable shelf, we can move it up and down. Well, we want to solidify that area, so we have a set divider section. I'm going to go ahead and double click our parts, double click our shelves section, and I'm going to grab a shelf fixed, drag it in, and we'll add a couple shelves here, so we don't have to go back into that section again. So I've added a few different fixed shelves, and let's go back into our parts, panels, and dividers. We can see with our dividers left, in our illustration, we see line boring holes on the right side of the board, but on the left side of the module, and no holes on the other side. If we pick dividers on the right, I now have a clean face on the right, bored holes on this section. Dividers fully drilled, I have bored holes on each panel, and dividers no drill, no bored holes. We'll use the dividers full drilled for this purpose. Now that I've got my fixed shelves in place, I can move it up and down. I'm going to drag and drop our dividers full drilled. So we'll use this first section opening. I'm going to left click my DIVF, dividers full drilled. We're going to drag it into the elevation view. Once I see my magnet, I can drop it anywhere in the opening section. I'm going to let go of my mouse as soon as I see my magnet. I'm going to right click this illustration so I can see this a little bit better. And we can see that we have bored holes on each side. The only variable is the number of openings. The default is 2 openings. We're going to choose the default of 2 openings. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to drop it in. Now, I haven't touched anything on my mouse. I can move it down into the appropriate sections wherever I'd like it to go. We'll use the very top portion. We're going to left click, and now I have 2 even sections. I'm going to click on my annotations tab, the line to line, and let's find out the exact opening. Click once again, and 14 5/8 for that section. Let's click it again, annotations tab, line to line, and from the inside opening to the inside opening. And again, 14 5/8. Okay, I'm going to right click, and let's just move these lines out of the way here. And let's do that again. And we'll do it on this side. So with 2 openings, I have 2 openings with 1 panel in the middle, or 1 divider. Let's drag and drop it into this section here. I'm going to left click, my divider is full. We're going to drag and drop. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse. Right click the illustration so I can see it better. And now let's choose the next drop down. For the next drop down, I have 3 openings, 4 openings, 5 openings. If we click on 3 openings, I now have 2 dividers. Once I click on 3 openings, we'll click on OK. And we'll just move it ever so slightly into our section here. This is where we want it. We're going to left click. And now I have 3 equal openings. So again, let's take a look at our line to line. Left click once, left click again, line to line, left click once I see the green line, left click again, 9.5, and once again, 9.5. So now I have 3 equal openings. Let's do one more test right here at the very bottom. Divider's full drilled, we drag and drop. Once I see my magnet, let go of my mouse. And again, right click the illustration, and instead of 3 openings, we'll have 4 openings. We'll click on OK and drop it in. And last but not least, our line to line annotations. I'm going to zoom in, line to line, line to line, left click, line to line, left click, line to line, left click, and left click. I think that annotation went to the very top. Just drag it down and change my annotations. The only exception to the divider rule is with our wall modules. With our wall modules, we have a preset hanging rail here. If I grabbed a divider fully drilled and dropped it in the middle between 2 fixed shelves, we'll have no challenges whatsoever. If we try to drag it in here, we're going to drop it where the hanging rail section is. We'll click on OK. And as you can see, it's trying to go in, but we can't. Now, we can always force anything in 2020 by holding the control button on your keyboard. So I'm going to hold the control button on my keyboard, and I'm just going to move my mouse over to force it into my wall rail system. We're going to left click once, and we can see the collision. The reason why there's a collision here is because we have the hanging rail system here, and there's got to be a notch. Therefore, we've created a collision. So the only limitation is we can't put a divider wherever there is a hanging rail system there. So the best thing to do is to use a tall module or drop down the dividers to the next available opening between 2 fixed shelves. Now let's see what we can do with our dividers. Let's use the first option that we did with 2 openings. I'm going to left click the divider. Once the divider is highlighted, I can see the green squares. I'm going to go ahead and go into attributes. I'm going to right click and go into my DIVF and left click attributes. we're now in attributes. I'm going to right click the illustration so I can see it a bit better. We can see the line boring holes. Now that it's attached, it's 14 inches deep. We know that this is now have 2 line boring holes, fronts and back. I'm going to left click our variables tab. And in the variables tab, we can confirm and see, and we've cross-referenced that we have 14 5/8 after I've added my line-to-line annotation. We can see opening 1 is 14 5/8 and opening 2 is 14 5/8. Now, we always work from left to right. So if I wanted to change the opening width for both sections, I would only choose the left section here, opening 1 width. If I increase it by 1 inch, 15 5/8, we can left click apply. And now the divider has moved 15 5/8. Please note, opening 2 width did not change. Only the first left section will work. 15 5/8. Let's change it to an even 16. Apply. And now we have 16 inches. If we want to go to the left, we'll go reverse. We'll start subtracting. And let's say that we only want a 4-inch opening on the left side. Click on OK. And now I've got a 4-inch space on the left side. And again, opening 2 width didn't grow. Click on OK. The same thing will apply with our 3 openings. We're going to left click. Now, if you can't click on the divider itself and nothing is highlighted, I'm going to left click off screen. Whenever we say off screen, it's left clicking out of the design anywhere in the white area or in the grid system. I'm going to left click off screen and I'm going to try clicking it again. And now I can see the green squares. I'm going to right click on the divider, right click right on the green square, DIVF, and left click attributes. Right click the illustration, left click on variables, and now I'm going to use my opening 1 width and opening 2 width and opening 3 width. I'm going to leave it alone. Opening 1 width, we can increase it. Click on apply, and we can see that the left has increased. Opening 2 and opening 3 did not change, but it changed in this section here. We can now increase opening 2 width. Apply, and now we've increased it to 13 1/2. It now matches, as well as 10 5/8. And again, we are not fixing or resizing the last furthest right opening. We're only doing the first 2 sections. We'll click on apply. We'll do it one more time with 4 openings. So now we're going to left click off screen, left click the divider. I see it's all highlighted. Right click the green square, left click divider, and into attributes. So now I can change opening 1, 2, and 3 if I ever wanted to move that panel. Left click on variables. So now let's just do a test. We're going to increase this by 7 inches. We're going to decrease. We're going to increase. So we have 7, 5, 7, 6. Click on apply, and we can see it all matches. And opening 4 did not change. So once again, whenever we're doing dividers and we ever want to move the dividers left or right, we're always using the first several openings and leaving the last opening the way it is. We can increase that or decrease that, and we can see that it matches 3 and 15/16, 5 and 15/16, 7, 15/16, and again, last one didn't change. And the same thing will apply to our wall modules as well. When your installer is now installing this, there's going to be no marking where this section is going to be. So the install team has to actually use a tape measure and add the dividers as necessary. We've done some really cool designs with some of our dealers where they've used a media room and they wanted to offset some of the dividers to make them so that they're not symmetrical, but they have a funky shape. So you can do this for bookcases. You can use these for pantries if you want to put your cutting boards on there, different sizes, and so forth. So dividers are a great tool. So once again, to recap, with our dividers, regardless if it's full drilled left, right, or no drill, we're going to use pilot hold the drill from the top shelf and into the actual panel, then screw, and the same thing will apply with our bottom shelf. Last but not least, let's start adding in some cleats as well as some adjustable shelves. Let's just double check that it works. They're all fully drilled. We're going to click on our categories, our parts, and we're going to click on our shelves. We can click on a shelf adjustable, drag it in, and it matches accordingly. Let's add another divider here as well, just a showcase between a section that's got no drill as well as fully drilled. Well, actually, we don't need that, actually. It pretty much makes sense. Drilling on one side versus the other side, or full drilled or no drilled. So last but not least, dividers left, dividers right, full drill and no drill. And if you have any questions, please contact us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.